Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. I have a lot, a lot to talk to you, with you all about here on this post-market report. Before we get into the dark stuff, and it can't get any darker than what's happening here. I really mean that. Let me just get my head on by covering the market. Okay, so really a nothing day. We had a stock market that had, at least for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq especially, took some losses today, but nothing major. We've had a series of record highs. This market just seems like it's defying gravity, because it is, as the promise of more easy money is floated out here, despite the fact that the 10-year yield is sitting here 4 point, I believe it was 4.19 the last time I looked at it. We had a big jump yesterday in the 10-year yield after the CPI number, the inflation number, came out. That proved by their own numbers, and you and I don't need any proof of this because you see we're paying attention to what's going on, that inflation continues to rise. But that's not the narrative today from the mainstream propaganda, and some of you are probably laughing, and we'll cover that in just a moment here. The fact of the matter is, this is, again, and I cut it this morning. It seems like I confused a few people, but let me just clarify this here real quick. I said in my morning video that I believe that if you are a bond investor, all right, someone that wants to own debt here, it would be a good spot. I don't like this stuff at all, but understanding the setup, and this is a setup on a scale that you can't even believe, and we have much more to talk about with regard to that. I said it was my opinion. Okay, look, you guys and girls, do your own research on this. I know there are bond investors here. I know that for a fact. It would be a good time to put some cash into debt if you were so inclined. That's not Greg Mannarino style. You will know that. It's the one thing I don't own. Okay, I own a lot of stuff. That is one of those things, right? Jeffrey knows. Yes. Silver did phenomenal today. Good for you, bro. Good for you. Anyway, so dollar falling today. There's nothing going on here. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin over 73,000. Crypto is doing well. Silver took off. Gold caught a bid. Crude oil getting bid higher. Pretty much what you and I would have imagined here was going on. But what we're seeing here, people, look, as you all know, and I've said this a lot lately, it was not and is not a comedy of errors that has got us here now, with exploding debts and deficits, expanding war, an elimination of an entire a class of people on a worldwide scale. This is not just a phenomenon here in the United States. That should tell you something, okay? No comedy of errors. This is all deliberate, and we haven't seen anything yet. Now, let me expound on something. Is that a word? Sounds good. If it's not a word, I want to use it as a word here. This entire thing and the American people are being set up for a great fall. Look, what do we find out is also going on? Thousands and thousands and thousands of people continue to be laid off. Dollar Tree is closing 1,000 stores. This was announced today. IBM. I mean, they're laying off people. The throngs of people being laid off. But that's how strong our economy is. I mean, you can't. We consistently are being lied to. We're being deceived. We're being told to look here, don't look over there. How do I put this to you in a way that may... All right, look, most of you probably already understand what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to say it as directly as I possibly can. Are you ready for this? You might not be ready for this, so sit down. There are a handful of people and families that control the world. That's a fact. You don't believe me? That's okay. All right. Maybe once you bring yourself up to speed as to what's actually going on, you'll have a better grasp on this current situation and where we are at. Now, what's being set up here is a great fall. People are being given enough rope to hang themselves. What do we know they want? They want power. They want control, and they're going to get it. They're going to make people beg for a new system. This current system is being dismantled. piece by piece, brick by brick. And because of this, we are going to see war expand greatly, no matter who is selected. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about presidential selections here. 1/3 of the American people, including Donald Trump, believe the last election was stolen. Now, if you're one of those people, well, hold that thought for a moment. If we believe Donald Trump and 1/3 of the American people believe that the election was stolen, do we not have to concede that if in fact this is the case, okay, those that were able to pull something like that off would have the same power to cover it up? How about abso-freaking-lutely? Okay, of course. Now, Donald Trump, as we know, running for president. I mean, it's kind of a joke. You're watching the mainstream media. Oh, it's on a rematch. Did we really have a choice here? You all knew that this was going to happen here. What's going on? Okay, if in fact Donald Trump believes what he says, and 1/3 of the American people do they not also believe that this entire thing can happen again? Think about it. If there are those, and there are, people with that kind of power to steal an election and to cover it up, you trying to tell me they can't do it again? Because that's exactly what's being set up here. Okay. People are in for the shock of their lives when it comes to the next presidential selection. A lot of people. Okay. The setup is what it is. You will know that. I've been telling you this probably before anybody else. And you already understand what's going on. Why? What's the truth behind why multi-billionaires are pulling out of the market? CEOs of corporations are selling huge amounts of stock. You got senators. You got our loving, caring confederacy of dunces that are supposed to be those looking out for us. Someone brought that up recently. I used to use that term a lot. Who are not. Okay, we have no representation anymore. And if you don't believe that we're going to get a repeat performance like last time, but on a much grander scale, because what they're hoping for is this. They want a revolt. They are looking for every single avenue to take away more freedoms, more liberties. And there are those people who are already getting prepared for that. They're called useful idiots. Have you heard that term before? That's what's being set up here. If you don't see it, you're completely blind. Again, if you believe, like Donald Trump does, the election was stolen, those same people who had that kind of power can't cover it up. Really? Honestly? You don't think that's going to happen again? You think you really have a choice here? There are some people out here who think, oh, Greg has something to sell you. I believe what I tell you to the core of my being here. All right. People believe that, oh, if we secure the borders and Donald Trump will do that. And then if we do that, then there won't be any more war. You're living in some kind of la-la land, people. If you can't see what's going on, how this is being set up, if you don't understand what they want to own the world. And there are people with that power. There are people with that kind of power, and the central banks are running it all. They are the one real government, people. They're destroying. The Federal Reserve is the enemy. Okay. They are the ones who provide the fund. You couldn't run a household. You could not run a business, big, small, or indifferent, the way that this country is being run, with debts and deficits, hyper-ballooning. Who's making up the difference, and who's happy to do it? It's the Federal Reserve who's destroying the currency. They're destroying the economy. They are destroying the people themselves. And this is a worldwide phenomenon. This is not a comedy of errors, people. Wake up. Those of you that are still in a delusional state, wake up. You have to understand that this world is not what you think it is. This is not the United States of America at all anymore. Okay, this is a whole other thing. Anyway, people, I was just writing down some stuff here today. And, talking about inflation, this is insane. I mean, this is what they're pulling off today. And this is what I was alluding to earlier. So again, we got by their own numbers yesterday, inflation is hotter than they thought it would be. Oh, imagine my shock. No one saw that coming, right? Oh, really? Duh. How about you and me have been calling this, to the letter. But meanwhile, you got the propaganda ministry. We're all getting the same script. the lie today, and you probably know what I'm talking about, is inflation is coming down. Inflation is coming down. Inflation is not coming down. The pace at which it is rising may be slowing, but inflation is still rising. So it's a lie by omission, and they've been doing this, the propaganda ministry, over and over and over again, to keep people. Look, people don't know. You and me, you have to understand, we are in an elite group of people. We are in a specific type of person who can think differently. Our brains are not wired as those who are being fully indoctrinated. And maybe at one time you were fully indoctrinated until you woke up and you realized, hey, hold on a second. Nothing is what it seems to be. This is all a setup. This whole entire thing is a setup, and it's leading to a grand finale, which more than likely is going to take place during this election here. Understand? Look, the way things look now, and I'm just going to leave it at that. The way things look now, Biden is going to get selected. Okay. The American people are being set up. Obviously, if President Trump believes what he's saying, okay, and a third of the American people will back him up that the last election was stolen, and we have to concede that if they have that kind of power, they can cover it up, it ain't happening again, really? That means that he knows what's going on. Of course he does. Okay, and this is a setup here to steal our freedoms and liberties, but you focus on whatever else you want to focus on. We know who our enemy is, and we know what they want. They want power, and they want control, and they're going to get it. And people are going to surrender it. They're going to surrender it willingly. That's what they're doing here. Although, again, the setup is there's going to be a revolt. Okay, and that's what they're counting on. They're giving people enough rope to hang themselves. And they're gonna come down on us like you can't possibly believe. Okay, that's what they think, that people are too stupid, and generally they are, to see what's right in front of their face, what's being set up, what happened before, and what's going to happen again. And that's going to enrage people even more. And that's what they're counting on. Anyway, people, look. Anyway, that pretty much. Pretty much is what I wanted to cover here. Let me talk about something else here just real quick. You all know my take on this. The Fed is going to cut rates. They're on a fixed path. They are not data dependent, regardless of what comes out of their mouth. Do you believe a single thing, a word, a syllable, an utterance that comes out of the mouth of Federal Reserve Chairperson Creature Powell or any of those freaks? Do you believe a word of it? And so if we don't believe that, and they're telling us that they're data dependent, that means they're not. They are not data dependent. They are hell-bent in every way, shape, or form to destroy us even further, to solidify their position in central banks around the world, the European Central Bank included here, to strangle us to death and use the mechanism of continuing to inflate to solidify their power. And that's why they're going to cut rates. Did I say rates? Cut rates. They're going to cut rates. It allows them to inflate. Look, they already got the economy by the throat. They got the consumer by the throat. People are being crushed to death by design, create slaves to the system so they can get away with anything they want to. Because there are too many people dependent on the tit of the government at this point here. You all know what I'm talking about, people. It's crazy. At least I hope you get it. I really do, man. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to cover today, people. All this should make perfect sense to you. You gotta think outside the box. You have to look at the setup. You have to say, question everything. Everything that comes out of anyone's mouth, including me. Question it. Ponder it. Think about it. Okay. People are not that stupid. We have a God-given intellect, okay, that maybe supersedes everything else. Should make sense to you that what I have outlined for you here, the setup, is real, and that's exactly what's going on here. Okay, unless things change, and I don't know what can possibly cause it to change, that's where it's going. This is the setup. Period. It's insane. Yes, question JEPI, absolutely. Question everything, people. People They're being led to the slaughter. Again, they're being given enough rope to hang themselves because they're not asking the right questions. They're putting their faith in a system that no longer exists or in a person that maybe, just maybe, realizes what's going on, but is playing a role here. Understand? This is not the United States anymore. And the world is controlled by a handful of people. It's not presidents, kings, queens, monarchs, or dictators. It's central banks for the most part here. But it even goes beyond that, people. Anyway, look, I think all of you have a very good understanding. At least I hope so. I have been sitting here for over a decade. It's been a long time outlining all this stuff, trying to, you know, uh, look, let you know what I'm thinking, what right or wrong. Okay. And it's up to you guys and girls to say, you know what Greg is saying actually makes sense to me. And then try to think about what it means for you, what you need to do about it. This is again a channel of action. People here are not just sitting back, you're looking to be entertained. There are people who are looking to do something. You understand? And what's being set up, okay, is brainless. Again, we do need a revolution, we need a revolt, but we have to do it in a smart way. And what they're hoping for is pandemonium to break out in the streets. That's what they're hoping for, and that's more than likely what they're going to get. Anyway, and that's awful, man. It's just awful. Anyway, look, love you a lot, people. I mean that from the heart. Now, I am off to Showtime Dragway in Clearwater. Make a few passes on that Copo mine. Made some changes to it. And if you are interested at all in seeing some of the races, I am going to put these on my Instagram. There is a link in the description of this video, and I hope to see you there. I put these things out. It's a distraction. Like, I live and breathe this stuff, as you know, and probably the only time that I don't think about it is when I'm staging my car, when I'm trying to get off the line, right, and I'm pulling those shifts. And then I don't think about nothing else. And then that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm pretty much immersed in this anyway. I hope to see more of you there at on my Instagram. Again, there is a link below here. All right, people, look, love all of you from the heart. I mean this with all I got. We need each other more than ever. We got to come together, and we are. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I will see you in the morning. Ponder the things I have spoken about here. I want to hear from you. Greg, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Oh, Greg, you know what? I think you got it. I'll read the comments. Love you a lot. See you.